Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a book many of you flagged as essential, Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi.
Yeah, this one kept coming up.
It did. You asked for it, and it's definitely packed with ideas on building and, well, leveraging relationships to propel you forward. Our goal today is basically to extract the core actionable strategies, the stuff you can really use so you can connect more effectively without feeling, buried under a mountain of networking tips.
Absolutely. Think of this as your direct route to the key insights. We've navigated the book, pinpointed the crucial principles, and now we're going to break them down for you. Ferrazzi's central thesis, which you'll see woven throughout his advice, is straightforward yet, honestly, incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Your success in life is directly tied to the people you encounter and what you achieve together.
Okay, let's dig into that core idea a bit more. Ferrazzi isn't just talking about amassing a stack of business cards, is he?
No, not at all.
He argues that your network profoundly shapes everything from your career path and opportunities to, your overall well-being. So when you actively cultivate your relationships, you're essentially taking a more direct hand in shaping your future.
And a foundational element of this is generosity. This isn't about keeping a tally or expecting immediate favors in return. It's about fostering a continuous cycle of giving and receiving, offering assistance, and crucially, being open to accepting it when offered. Think of it as constantly, contributing to and drawing from a wellspring of mutual support.
That point about being willing to ask that really resonated with me. Ferrazzi highlights how many of us are quick to offer help. We genuinely enjoy supporting others, but when it comes to our own needs, we kind of hesitate, don't we?
Oh, definitely. It's a common thing.
He makes a strong case that being receptive to help is just as vital as offering it. It's truly two sides of the same coin.
Precisely. Building connections isn't a one-way street. It's about nurturing a network where reciprocal support and a mutual willingness to both give and receive create expanded possibilities for everyone involved.
So, with that fundamental understanding in place, let's explore some of Ferrazzi's key strategies. The first area he really emphasizes is the power of goal setting, coupled with what he terms the relationship action plan.
Yeah, and what's particularly insightful here is Frazzi's focus on the discipline of transforming aspirations into concrete objectives. He honed his own goal setting into a three-step process. But the real takeaway he emphasizes is making it a consistent habit, like an ongoing practice rather than a one-time event.
And it's not enough to simply think about what you want to achieve. Ferrazzi is quite insistent on the importance of writing those goals down. This act of putting pen to paper or, fingers to keyboard is the second crucial step and forms the basis for his relationship action plan, essentially. Your strategic roadmap for turning those goals into reality through your network.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the relationship action plan is the practical application of his core philosophy. It's the intentional process of identifying and nurturing the relationships that will be instrumental in achieving those written goals. But he also lays out some very specific and important criteria for the goals themselves.
Right. He stresses that your goals must be specific. Vague wishes simply won't cut it. They need to be concrete, detailed, with clearly defined action steps, realistic deadlines, and measurable ways to track your progress. He gives a compelling example, particularly relevant for those in sales. Instead of just aiming to have my best quarter ever, you need to define precisely what that means in terms of a specific monetary target.
Mhm. That level of specificity is crucial because it provides unparalleled clarity and focus. It enables you to pinpoint the relationships that will be most valuable in reaching that tangible target. And the second vital element is that your goals must be believable. You have to genuinely believe in your ability to achieve them. Otherwise, you'll likely lack the sustained motivation and drive necessary to pursue them effectively. It sounds simple, but it's key.
Okay, so you've established these specific and believable goals, and you've crafted your relationship action plan. What's a logical next step in forging those crucial connections? Ferrazzi talks about actively getting involved in things you enjoy and even stepping up to become a leader.
What's interesting here is his emphasis on forming connections organically. He points out that you'll naturally feel more comfortable and build stronger, more authentic relationships when you're engaged in activities you genuinely enjoy alongside others who share those interests. This is where the power of hobbies really comes into play.
Exactly. He suggests that almost any hobby, from something solitary like reading to more social activities like team sports or volunteering, provides an inherent community. Joining clubs or groups centered around these interests is a fantastic and, frankly, low-pressure way to meet like-minded people. But he doesn't stop at simply joining. He encourages actively participating and, when the opportunity arises, taking on leadership roles within these groups.
Yeah, this aspect of leadership is key. It provides invaluable real-world practice and essential life and leadership skills, and it naturally expands your network and creates more opportunities to connect with others in a meaningful way. It's a relatively low-stakes environment to hone those abilities.
Definitely. Now, once you've started to build these connections, there will inevitably be times when you need to make a direct request. Ferrazzi outlines a very practical four-step process for mastering the art of asking effectively.
This is where it gets really interesting and actionable. He provides a clear and effective framework for making your needs known. The first step is to state the situation objectively, presenting the facts without unnecessary emotion or subjective interpretation.
He uses a great example, doesn't he? Someone simply pointing out the observable fact that there are no women speakers on the agenda for an upcoming conference.
Right, just stating what is.
The second step is to communicate your feelings sincerely using I feel statements. This injects a personal element and demonstrates vulnerability, which perhaps counterintuitively can be incredibly persuasive.
That element of vulnerability, as Ferrazzi wisely observes, can actually foster trust and deepen the connection with the person you're speaking to. The third step is to deliver your request clearly and directly, stating precisely what you want or what outcome you're hoping for. If you're going to put yourself out there, clarity is paramount. No beating around the bush.
And the final, crucial step is to use an open-ended question to encourage a dialogue. This transforms the request from a potential demand into an invitation for a conversation, allowing for discussion, negotiation, and a more collaborative approach.
Hmm?
Much better, right?
Exactly. This four-step process is designed to make the act of asking more comfortable for you and more receptive to the other person. It strikes a balance between directness and empathy, significantly increasing the likelihood of a mutually beneficial outcome.
Now, shifting gears slightly, Ferrazzi also dedicates some attention to what he calls networking jerk behavior. It's a blunt term, but it highlights important pitfalls to avoid when building relationships.
Yeah. Jerk behavior. What's particularly insightful here is his observation that our modern culture increasingly values mutual respect and genuinely mutually beneficial relationships. The old model of purely transactional or self-serving networking is becoming less and less effective, and frankly, less acceptable. People see through it.
He emphasizes that if your focus is solely on yourself and you don't genuinely take others' interests to heart, it will inevitably become apparent, especially in our hyper-connected world. His advice is to focus on building a strong web of authentic friendships, not creating a trail of negative encounters and burned bridges.
And that long-term perspective is absolutely crucial. A career and a life built upon genuine, reciprocal connections will provide a far more resilient and fulfilling foundation than one based on superficial or exploitative interactions.
So how do you even begin to build this strong web of friendships and connections? Ferrazzi stresses the fundamental importance of simply taking names and keeping organized lists. It might sound elementary, but it's a foundational practice.
It's all about being intentional in your relationship-building efforts. Creating your network starts with consciously identifying the individuals you genuinely want to connect with, developing lists categorized by different criteria, perhaps people you admire, individuals within your specific industry, or even those who share your personal hobbies, provides valuable structure and focus to your efforts. It's not just random.
He even suggests actively seeking out potential contacts in unexpected places, like within the pages of trade magazines relevant to your field. It's about cultivating that mindset of always being open to identifying and noting potential new connections, just keeping your eyes open.
And once you've identified those individuals, often the initial challenge is simply reaching them, particularly if they are influential or in high demand. This is where the skill of managing the gatekeeper artfully becomes so important.
Absolutely. Ferrazzi strongly advises treating the gatekeepers, whether it's an assistant, a secretary, or another point of contact, as a valuable ally rather than an obstacle to be overcome. These individuals often wield significant influence, and building rapport with them can be the key to getting through. Don't underestimate them.
No, definitely not. It's about understanding their role and proactively making their job easier. Providing clear, concise, and respectful information about the purpose of your desired connection can significantly increase their willingness to help facilitate that introduction. Make it easy for them.
Now, Ferrazzi holds some fairly strong opinions on traditional networking events. He doesn't seem to be a particular fan of the typical conference mixer.
Uh-uh. What's interesting about his critique is that it stems from the observation that many such events often gather individuals who lack a clear shared purpose or common ground beyond perhaps seeking job opportunities. He suggests that these environments can sometimes feel somewhat forced or even, well, desperate and may not be conducive to forming the deeper, more meaningful connections he advocates for.
He tends to favor more organic and purpose-driven ways of meeting people through shared passions, hobbies, or intentionally curated gatherings, rather than those sometimes awkward and transactional interactions at typical networking mixers.
Seems more natural, right?
Yeah, less forced. However, even when you do establish a meaningful connection, the work is far from over. Ferrazzi strongly emphasizes the absolute necessity of consistent follow-up. He puts it quite directly, saying, follow up or fail. Making consistent follow-up a non-negotiable habit is essential for nurturing those initial connections and ensuring that you not only remember names, but equally importantly, that you remain memorable to them. It cuts both ways.
It really does. It's about reinforcing the initial positive connection and demonstrating that you genuinely value the interaction. A timely and thoughtful follow-up can be the crucial factor in transforming a fleeting encounter into a lasting professional or personal relationship. Don't let it drop.
And speaking of being proactive in specific environments, Ferrazzi dedicates a whole section to the concept of being a conference commando. I find that term quite evocative.
It really paints a vivid picture, doesn't it?
Hmm.
His core point is that successful conference attendance isn't a passive activity. It's a strategic mission that demands pre-planning and clearly defined goals. You don't just show up and hope for the best. You go in with a deliberate strategy.
Like a mission.
Yeah.
He specifically advises against being a wallflower, lingering in the periphery, or an ankle hugger, someone who nervously latches onto the first person they meet out of discomfort. We've all seen that, right?
Oh, yeah. Instead, he encourages you to actively leverage the concentrated opportunity to meet a wide array of people and make as many meaningful initial connections as possible, with the understanding that follow-up is key. Maximize the opportunity.
The underlying idea is to be intentional about identifying who you want to connect with at the conference, devising a plan for how to approach them and initiate those conversations, and having a system in place for effective follow-up afterward. It's planned.
Exactly. Now, one of the most fascinating concepts Ferrazzi delves into is the incredible power of connecting with what he calls connectors, or, as he further refined it, super connectors.
Ah, yes, the super connectors. These are the remarkable individuals who seem to know an unusually large number of people across diverse fields, and who, in turn, are known by many. They possess an exceptionally broad and varied network.
Ferrazzi points out that you often find these super connectors in professions where building and maintaining relationships is fundamental to their work, such as headhunting, lobbying, fundraising, politics, journalism, and public relations. It's literally their job to know people.
He argues that these superconnectors can become incredibly valuable cornerstones of your own network because their extensive reach can often provide you with access to a vast array of other individuals whom you might not otherwise encounter. Think of it as a shortcut to a much wider sphere of influence.
Becoming a trusted contact within a super connectors network essentially puts you just 1 degree of separation away from their entire web of connections. It creates a powerful multiplier effect for your own networking efforts and potential opportunities. Huge leverage.
But it's not solely about connecting with the big, influential players. Ferrazzi also sheds light on the often overlooked value of the strength of weak ties. This is a concept that social scientist Mark Granovetter famously brought to the forefront.
What's particularly interesting here is the idea that your acquaintances, those weaker ties, often have access to entirely different sets of information and operate within different networks compared to your close friends. Your closest contacts tend to move in similar social and professional circles, so they often possess the same knowledge and connections you already have. There's overlap.
But your weaker ties, by definition, are more likely to inhabit different worlds, exposing you to a whole new inventory of knowledge, perspectives, and opportunities that might be completely unavailable within your immediate circle. Ferrazzi even quotes Malcolm Gladwell, who aptly stated, "Acquaintances, in short, represent a source of social power."
So while Ferrazzi certainly underscores the importance of cultivating deep and meaningful friendships, he also recognizes that these more casual, weaker connections play a vital role in providing access to novel information, unexpected job opportunities, and fresh, innovative ideas. Think of it as tapping into completely separate knowledge ecosystems. Don't discount them.
This naturally leads us to the distinction Ferrazzi draws between cultivating those more superficial contacts and nurturing genuine, deep friendships that form the true core of your network.
While weak ties certainly have their value in broadening your reach, Ferrazzi firmly believes that deep and trusting friendships are the bedrock of a truly powerful and resilient network. For most individuals, attempting to maintain a vast number of purely superficial acquaintances on top of nurturing close friendships can be emotionally and logistically overwhelming and ultimately, well, less rewarding. You can spread yourself too thin.
He points out that superconnectors are somewhat of an exception to this. They often possess the capacity and skills to maintain a larger number of genuinely meaningful relationships. But for the majority of us, focusing on cultivating those deeper bonds within a more manageable circle is likely to be more sustainable and ultimately more impactful. Quality over quantity, maybe.
For most people, yeah, probably. And when you are strategically looking to connect with those superconnectors or other influential individuals, Ferrazzi offers some practical insights by outlining specific examples of different types of connectors and how they typically operate.
He specifically mentions headhunters, who possess broad networks across various fields and organizational levels, lobbyists, who are deeply connected within governmental and related sectors, and fundraisers, who have extensive networks of individuals with access to significant resources.
He also includes politicians who are well connected within their communities and beyond, journalists who maintain wide-ranging contacts across diverse industries and topics, and public relations specialists who are skilled at the art of connecting people and building strategic relationships. Understanding the specific professional world each of these connector types and habits can significantly inform and improve your approach to engaging with them effectively. Know who you're talking to.
Now, before you can delve into those deeper, more substantive conversations, you often need to initiate contact with something lighter. Ferrazzi touches on the often underestimated importance of mastering the art of small talk.
It's a skill that is frequently overlooked, isn't it? But mastering small talk is absolutely crucial for initiating new connections. It serves as the initial entry point to building rapport and discovering common ground with someone you've just met. It's the gateway.
And once you've successfully made that initial connection through effective small talk, the natural goal is to move beyond the superficial level. Ferrazzi discusses the process of turning connections into compatriots, which is all about deepening those initial relationships.
This involves actively focusing on creating more profound bonds based on shared interests, offering mutual support, and cultivating genuine understanding. It's about intentionally transitioning from a transactional contact to a more meaningful and reciprocal connection, moving past just networking.
He highlights three fundamental aspects of people's lives that can often foster these deeper emotional bonds: health, wealth, and their children. Pretty universal stuff.
Absolutely. These are deeply personal and often highly sensitive areas of life. Showing genuine interest and offering sincere support in these aspects of someone's well-being can cultivate incredibly strong and lasting loyalty. Helping someone navigate a health challenge, positively impacting their financial well-being, or showing a sincere and sustained interest in their children goes far beyond the scope of a casual professional networking interaction. It builds real bonds.
And once you have established these valuable connections, one of the most powerful things you can do to strengthen your own network is to facilitate connections between other people within it. Ferrazzi strongly advocates for the power of thoughtful introductions.
A well-considered introduction can significantly amplify your value as a connector within your network. By thoughtfully bringing together individuals who could mutually benefit from knowing each other, you not only strengthen your own relationships with both parties, but also establish yourself as a valuable hub for facilitating beneficial connections. You become indispensable.
He even emphasizes mastering the art of making effective introductions on professional platforms like LinkedIn, recognizing the potential it offers to connect vast numbers of people strategically. That's a modern necessity, really.
Totally. But building and maintaining these valuable relationships isn't a one-time task. Ferrazzi stresses the ongoing importance of repetition, or what he playfully refers to as pinging, in consistently nurturing your network.
Given the constant deluge of information we all navigate daily, consistent contact is absolutely key to breaking through the noise and staying top of mind for your connections. He wisely suggests that different levels of relationships require different frequencies and modes of communication. You can't treat everyone the same way.
Right. For newly formed relationships, more frequent and varied modes of communication are often beneficial initially. Established professional contact might benefit from monthly or quarterly check-ins. True friendships thrive on more personal face-to-face interactions, More peripheral or secondary relationships might only require periodic pings, a quick email, or social media interaction. Social media, in particular, can be a useful tool for ongoing, low-intensity maintenance of a wider range of connections. Use the right tool for the job.
He even recommends developing a system for categorizing and rating the strength of your network connections and then proactively scheduling your outreach to ensure you are consistently nurturing these relationships without becoming overwhelmed by the process. Get organized about it.
And speaking of intentional gatherings, Ferrazzi's core concept of never eat alone really embodies his entire philosophy in action. He strongly advocates for the strategic use of dinner parties, both large and intimate, as exceptionally powerful tools for building deeper relationships.
These aren't meant to be just casual social gatherings. They are intentionally curated opportunities to bring together people who might mutually benefit from connecting. He offers practical advice on creating a theme, sending thoughtful invitations, and not getting overly stressed about the hosting details, even suggesting takeout or simple menus when needed. Keep it manageable.
The key is to thoughtfully invite a diverse mix of individuals who you believe could benefit from knowing each other, creating fertile ground for serendipitous interactions and the formation of new relationships within your extended network. It's strategic hospitality.
In today's increasingly digital world, Ferrazzi also underscores the growing value of becoming your own media hub.
This involves actively curating and consistently sharing valuable content, insights, articles, resources through various accessible channels such as email, newsletters, and social media platforms. By consistently providing information that your network finds relevant and useful, you position yourself as a valuable resource and naturally strengthen your existing connections. Be a source of value.
It's about establishing yourself as a go-to source of knowledge and insights within your specific area of expertise, which naturally attracts people to you and reinforces the relationships you've already cultivated.
Now, while all of these strategic approaches are undoubtedly important, Ferrazzi also emphasizes the absolutely crucial role of vulnerability and authenticity in forging truly deep and lasting connections. This is a big one.
He shares a personal anecdote, doesn't he, about openly sharing a difficult experience at a dinner party and how that unexpected vulnerability actually led to deeper connections with everyone present at the table.
Yeah, it's powerful. Sharing your genuine passions, being honest about your experiences, including your failures, and showing your authentic self can create a powerful sense of shared humanity and build trust.
Sincerity is absolutely key. People are generally adept at sensing when someone isn't being genuine, right? Actively avoiding being an eye darter, constantly scanning the room for someone perceived as more important, demonstrates that you genuinely value the person you are currently engaged in conversation with. Be present.
Absolutely. All of these elements collectively contribute to shaping your personal brand, which Ferrazzi argues is increasingly vital in today's interconnected world.
Your personal brand is essentially your reputation, how you are perceived by others. He makes the case that it needs to be credible, distinctive, and, above all else, trustworthy. In a crowded marketplace of information and individuals, a strong and clearly defined personal brand helps you stand out and attract the right kinds of connections.
He relentlessly stresses the importance of focusing on the unique value you bring to the table, and then proactively and consistently broadcasting that brand by taking on challenging initiatives, openly sharing your ideas, and actively getting involved in relevant communities. Don't just have a brand, live it.
And a vital component of effectively broadcasting your personal brand is what Ferrazzi terms public relations for your personal brand. He strongly encourages being proactive in sharing your narrative and expertise, starting with smaller initiatives and gradually building momentum.
He offers practical guidance, such as clearly understanding what makes your story memorable and unique, tailoring your message to resonate with your target audience, developing concise and impactful talking points, and being persistent in your outreach without crossing the line into being intrusive or annoying. It's a fine line sometimes.
It is. Now, what about the seemingly daunting task of reaching those highly influential, famous, and powerful people? Ferrazzi offers some surprisingly practical and down-to-earth advice.
He reminds us that, despite their status, they are still individuals with their own unique goals, challenges, and even insecurities. Offering genuine help and demonstrable value, even in seemingly small ways, can be a surprisingly effective way to initiate a connection. Find a way to be useful to them.
He also suggests strategically becoming a joiner and actively participating in associations, events, or initiatives that they are likely to be involved in. Go where they are.
Right. It's about identifying common ground, demonstrating your sincere value and offering genuine assistance, rather than approaching them with a sense of being starstruck or making immediate demands on their time or resources. Play the long game.
And if you find that the existing networks don't quite align with your specific interests or goals, Ferrazzi offers the empowering suggestion of creating your own clubs and organizations.
Yeah, if you can't find it, build it. If you possess a specific niche interest or a unique value proposition, starting your own group, whether it's an in-person meetup or an online community, can be an incredibly effective way to connect with like-minded individuals and simultaneously position yourself as a leader within that space.
He emphasizes basing these self-created groups on genuine shared interests and proactively inviting the specific individuals you are keen to connect with. It can start small with your existing network of friends and colleagues and naturally expand from there as word spreads. Build your own ecosystem.
Exactly. Throughout Never Eat Alone, Ferrazzi includes fascinating Connectors Hall of Fame profiles, offering real-world examples of individuals who have masterfully embodied these principles of connection throughout history and in contemporary times.
He highlights figures like Paul Revere, whose extensive network was instrumental in mobilizing people during a pivotal period, Brené Brown, who connects deeply with her audience through her willingness to embrace vulnerability, Dale Carnegie, who emphasized the importance of understanding and connecting with people on their own terms,
Adam Grant, who champions the power of generosity and reciprocity in building strong relationships, and even Benjamin Franklin, who famously organized the Junto for intellectual stimulation and mutual self-improvement. These diverse examples truly bring the abstract concepts to life, don't they?
They really do. And speaking of learning, growth, and mutual support, Ferrazzi underscores the significant importance of mentorship, emphasizing the value of both giving and receiving guidance.
Mentoring, he argues, requires a foundation of reciprocity and a genuine mutual investment in each other's long-term success. He advises proactively offering your help and expertise before directly asking for assistance, and wisely points out that valuable mentors can be found at all levels and across a wide spectrum of different fields, not just CEOs.
Right. Mentors can be peers, even people younger than you sometimes. It's about cultivating a supportive and reciprocal relationship where both individuals benefit from the open exchange of knowledge, experiences, and perspectives.
Ultimately, building a strong and supportive network can have a profound impact on your professional trajectory. Ferrazzi delves into the topic of finding meaningful work through connections.
He posits that dissatisfaction in the workplace often stems, at least in part, from the quality of the relationships you have with your colleagues. Makes sense.
It does. Cultivating a broader professional network significantly expands your awareness of and access to new and potentially more fulfilling career paths, opens doors you didn't even know existed.
And finally, while strategic planning and intentionality are crucial themes throughout the book, Ferrazzi also encourages actively creating serendipity in your life. I like this one.
Me too. This is about consciously leaving room for unexpected connections and unforeseen opportunities to arise. Being open to new experiences, being more inclined to say yes to novel invitations, and shifting your primary focus to how you can be genuinely helpful to others can often lead to surprisingly valuable and unplanned encounters. You engineer your own luck, in a way.
He wisely points out that all the networking skills and strategies in the world are ultimately secondary if you are not someone that other people genuinely enjoy spending time with. This brings him to the crucial point about the power of being interesting.
Right. Actively developing a platform of compelling ideas, staying well-informed about current events and trends, and consistently sharing interesting and relevant tidbits of information makes you a more engaging and valuable connection. People are naturally drawn to those who can offer them something beyond just a transactional business exchange, whether it's a fresh perspective, insightful knowledge, or simply an engaging conversation. Don't be boring.
Yeah, don't be boring. And to ensure continued relevance and growth, Ferrazzi stresses the importance of foresight and continuous learning.
This involves proactively analyzing emerging trends and potential opportunities within your field, actively connecting with early adopters and influential thought leaders, engaging in broad and varied reading, and making connections between seemingly disparate ideas that others might not yet be seeing. Keep learning, keep connecting the dots.
Exposing yourself to unusual and diverse experiences can also significantly stimulate your creativity and broaden your overall perspective. Get outside your bubble.
Definitely. He concludes by emphasizing the GVACE principles: generosity, vulnerability, accountability, and candor as essential guiding principles for shaping your personal brand and all your connection-building endeavors.
These principles are fundamental to building deep trust and fostering genuine authenticity, which are supremely valuable assets in cultivating meaningful and lasting relationships, both personally and professionally. It kind of ties it all together.
It does. So as we conclude this deep dive into the powerful principles of Never Eat Alone, remember that your network isn't just a static list of names and numbers. It's a dynamic and ever-evolving ecosystem that thrives on consistent generosity, genuine authenticity, and proactive, sustained effort.
Yeah, the diverse strategies we've explored today, from setting crystal clear goals and intentionally nurturing your relationships to embracing vulnerability and actively becoming a connector for others, are all interconnected and contribute to building that strong, resilient, and supportive network that can truly propel you forward.
And on that thought, consider this. If you were to consciously create just 3 serendipitous encounters in the coming week, what small but significant shifts could you make in your daily routine or your interactions with others to open yourself up to those unexpected and potentially valuable connections?
Good question. And how might those seemingly random encounters subtly contribute to your larger goals in ways you can't yet fully anticipate? Ponder that, and we'll look forward to our next deep dive together.